Welcome back to the CMB Sports Show. I'm your host, Braylon Brakefield. Along with me, my good friend from the garage in the gym, Cole Lepchitz. Cole, what's up?
Yeah, man, reporting live from Coleman Coliseum, the airplane hangar, as some people would call it. Dude, it's going good, man. Vibes are up currently. Well, trending up. They were down there for a little bit, but we're coming back. We're coming back.
Yeah, we gotta start it off talking about the big news that everyone's talking about. Auburn women's basketball 78, Alabama women's basketball 65. What can you say?
I
What was your
mean,
takeaways from the game?
you know, uh, there was a AI step over that happened, and there wasn't an immediate fight. So I'm gonna need some more um, stand up for your teammates in that situation. I know Nate Oates would not have any of that and would tackle. He would probably get a targeting call if that happened to one of his guys, and which that's just something you just got to appreciate. You got to appreciate the love for your players. I'm going to need some more of that from our women's squad. But, I think it's a little bit of a rebuild year for us. So, I'm not going to hate on them too much.
I didn't know you were mid rebuild. I really wasn't expecting anything about I wasn't expecting you to have anything to say about it. So for you to just pull something out of thin air was pretty impressive. I was going to just see how long you could go with that.
Hey, man, Alabama fans love Alabama. I
True.
mean, through thick and thin.
A
We're
hundred
not
percent.
It's not the 80s anymore. We're not just a football school.
Right. You're also not a women's basketball school,
Yep,
but
absolutely.
at least you knew the score.
Yeah. I think you told me the score, but
Yeah.
yeah, sources.
Both of us found out the score like 2 minutes before we started recording,
Sources.
thanks to a Facebook post because I didn't
Dude,
watch
you're not
one
supposed to give
dribble
our
of that game.
you're not supposed to give our sources away.
What does
But
this say? I just gotta.
yeah, well, so in other news, I know everybody's wanting to hear about the Capitals Rangers matchup, back-to-back days, two cities. We split. I think that's probably fair. We didn't have Ovi, and if we did, we probably would have whipped y'all twice.
Yeah,
But
right.
instead, it was just once. So
Sorry that my I just lost I just blacked out right there. This I just got a score app update. New York Yankees uh only team to extend an offer to the two-time Cy Young winner Blake Snell.
hmm,
So
solid. What do you think? He'll be like number four?
on the rotation,
Yeah, or three
I think he's number two.
behind GC.
Yeah. I mean he just won the Cy Young.
I'm trying to think about who else we got. Do we have somebody else that's really good?
Just added Stroman. He's probably gonna be three or four.
Oh yeah, Stroman. He'll be three or four.
Um Rodon, if he's healthy, which who knows.
Severino. Do we still have him?
Severino, I don't know. He went to the Mets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Probably following Dylan Betances. Get the
Yeah.
check. Can't knock it.
No. And then we got Nestor, who a lot of people are down on Nestor this year for some reason.
He's getting old, I
I
guess. I
don't
don't
know. I
know.
don't know how old he is.
I don't know anything about him really. I know he's really good at timing.
Oh yeah. He's
Oh
a left-handed Mark Stroman.
yeah, I mean, if you think you're gonna have good timing against the Yankees, you better think again.
Yeah, it's not gonna be a fun day at the ballpark.
But yeah, I guess let's talk about the real news.
He's
Um,
29, by the way. So he's not old.
he's not that old. He's in his prime.
Yep.
I'm still in my prime. Yeah, you look it. Anyways, um, yeah, I mean the elephant in the room,
First, let me put something out
literally.
there because me and Cole texted like probably 2 days after the news came out about Saban, and I said we need to record something, and Cole literally told me he's not emotionally ready yet, and he needed some time. Yeah, I felt like it was like a funeral,
I mean,
which I completely understood. It's just funny that
it's like
like
I
your
lost my
coach
dad.
retiring, yeah, it was like we had to take some time off from the podcast.
17 years of stability, somebody I could lean on. You know what I mean? Through thick and thin in my life, I always had Nick Saban as my coach. And, now it's been about a week and a half, I think, or maybe coming up on 2 weeks. And, I'm building back up day by day, pretty much minute by minute, just trying to make it the next 60 seconds. That's pretty much how it's going. Um, and looking at Twitter is not great for that.
No, if you're an Alabama fan, stay off of Twitter.
Stay off of it.
Go block Hayes Fawcett. Go block transfer portal news. Go block everybody with a pulse
Anything and
because
everything, because it was ugly. The first week, ugly. And that's fine. Like a lot of people, it started bringing up conversations like the system is broken, and maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not one to I don't make those kind of rules. Like I have nothing to do with that. It's just the ball you're given. Saban retires after the national championship. I don't know when else he was supposed to retire, so it's like I get it. But that being said, like I'm not going to sit here and complain about like people can just come and pick our players apart. Like that's just everybody goes through that. Tennessee went through that when they had to fire their guy. Washington went through it 2 years ago, and then now again. Like it is what it is. Like I'm not going to sit here and complain and say we need to change the rules just because like my team has to go through it. Because everybody does. And if the system is broken, they'll fix it, and if not, they'll keep it the same.
I don't really know. I know like it from a broad like outlook on it, it does seem like it's broken just because your team went from having Nick Saban and one of the best rosters in the country to not having Nick Saban and not having one of the best rosters in the country basically like overnight.
Yeah.
But then again, look at it from like a player standpoint. Like Caleb Downs signed up to go play for Nick Saban, who
Yeah.
is, top three defensive backs coach in the country. Like when it comes to producing those guys, get them to the NFL. And then
Mm-hmm.
Saban leaves, and it's like, why should Caleb Downs have to stay?
Yeah.
He
Absolutely.
should be able to go do something else and, brace his chances at going high in the draft, which he's going to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he would have if he stayed or went. But I mean, yeah, I don't hate, getting if people want to go see what other opportunities are out there, like that's fine. Like when you have the most talented roster, statistically based off recruiting rankings and things like that, or player evaluations, like there's going to be people that aren't playing or aren't starting that could start everywhere else in the country almost. Like they should transfer. Like Saban's not there, their position coach leaves or gets fired or whatever. Like transfer. I don't know if it should be 30 days. I feel like that's pretty long, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any kind of problem with it. I just think it is unfortunate that we can't really rebuild our roster um to full capacity until the springtime. But I mean, that's just part of it. I mean, it's only for a year. We can still recruit for future, 2025, 2026, and do all that stuff. I just hope we don't, try to tamper or anything like that. I hope we go about it the right way.
Yeah. Another thing too I saw was like in the spring you can't add teams or you can't add players from teams within your conference.
Right.
I don't know if that's 100% true, but
I think that is
so that
correct.
kind of limits things, which it's kind of rare that a player like would go to another team in the conference,
Yeah.
but still it happens. That's cutting off any of Georgia's backups, any of these guys that you could pick off once they see that they're not going to be starters or full-time guys. Can't really
Right.
add any of those guys, but I still think y'all hold out hope after the Super Bowl. Harbaugh gets a job, and then I would just pick everyone off Michigan that you can.
Oh yeah. I think we have a good shot at it. But I mean, even with the guys that we have now, like I was looking at a projected defensive uh, lineup, I guess, and it still wasn't that bad. It was very young, um, and I would say probably inexperienced, but I mean, they're all 4 or 5 stars. Like it's not like we're lacking in talent. It's just, I guess, the experience isn't quite there like your normal Bama squad. But with our hires that we've made, yeah, I don't know a ton about our DC, but I know like our safeties coach or our defensive back coach is a guy that was the defensive back coach at Cincinnati with Sauce and Kobe, and then he went to Wisconsin with Fickle. and they had a top safeties guy there too. So I mean, he'll be able to bring a lot of value to high standard of DBs that we have with an athletic bunch. So that'll help. And then we have experienced linebackers. Like I think we're returning both linebackers. So that's huge. Those are like your signal callers for your defense. So I think we'll be fine defensively. Offensively, I think we'd be fine. I mean, we lost a lot in the receiver room, but I think we had a lot there. And we have some freshmen coming in that could potentially step up and make some major impacts. But I know the OC is highly regarded. So hopefully he can coach them up, and maybe we have a good plan at least if we're lacking in talent somewhere, which seems to be their MO.
Yeah, and your wide receiver room really wasn't that great anyways.
Yeah,
Like losing Isaiah Bond isn't like losing Devontae Smith or
yeah, it's not.
anybody to that caliber. Like I think you can replace him.
Yeah, I wasn't the Nye Black was kind of sad to see. Like he had potential. He's like a matchup nightmare, like 6'5" and is athletic, but I mean, it is what it is. You lose those guys to Texas, and good luck, but you just have to keep rolling. But yeah, I wasn't really that upset about Isaiah Bond. In all honesty, like he had big catches, and he'll be remembered forever as a part of that Alabama team. But um, I mean, I don't want to say a dime a dozen, but something like that.
I mean, to be honest, if you take the catch away against Auburn, like he's probably forgotten pretty easily.
Yeah,
Like it isn't like he was throwing out huge numbers or anything. Like same Jermaine Burton, like he's probably gonna be remembered for the after you beat Georgia or for sucker punching the girl in Tennessee. Like he's gonna remember for one of those two things. It isn't like he was Julio Jones out there.
yeah. I mean, he had a big game against A&M, but that was really it. I mean, A&M had a pretty weak, um, defensive back core or whatever. But I mean, we just had a bunch of guys that were all right. We had a little bit better offensive plan this year, so we got them more involved. But we didn't. Our receiver room has been lacking. I mean, I think there's a stat. I think it's like our whole when Ja'Cory Brooks transferred out in during the bowl season, it was like all of 2021's class had transferred or something like that. Every wide receiver in the 2021 class. So that's why I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that's why the receivers coach was relieved of his duties pretty quick after the national championship. I just don't think he had been bringing in a lot of talent or maybe even developing the talent that we had that well. So uh, kind of was foreshadowing. But I think we got the guy from Washington, and they have pretty good receivers. I don't know if it's him or them or a combination of both, but he at least has seen good receivers and seen what it takes to be successful. So it's something to look at going forward.
Yeah, I mean you're gonna find out soon if it was him or them.
Oh yeah,
Like because I mean he definitely had two of the best in the country. But then I'm just I've been extremely skeptical about like guys like DeBoer when it comes to like he had an older quarterback. He had, you know, good offensive weapons. It almost reminds me of like Tennessee's like situation. Was
yeah,
it last year or the year before when they had Hendon Hooker and Jalen
yeah,
Hyatt?
2022. So
Okay, so last year. That's
two
what I thought.
seasons, yeah,
Um, to where it's just like, is it them or was it just a perfect scenario? Which you could rebuild that scenario too, but
yeah,
so I do think there's a lot to like having an older quarterback is an advantage that people don't really take into account until you realize like, hey, I've got a 26-year-old quarterback who's been playing college football for 8 years. He's going to have an advantage over the 18 or 19-year-old quarterback that he's playing
yeah,
against.
absolutely. No, I mean that's definitely a fair concern. Um, I think that's just one thing that we'll have to kind of wait and see. I know that their offense is, pretty dynamic, but they definitely had the right pieces
Yeah.
in place. So, that's why I'm not too upset about them bringing in their own, prospect essentially from Washington. He redshirted this year, I believe, but he's 6'6", 4-star. And then Julian Sayin leaves, which you have the best quarterback in the country. You never want to see him leave. But at the same time, like they're bringing in their own guy, and I'm not as disappointed as I would be. If we were just like left with Milroe and Ty Simpson. You know what I mean? Like we have a guy that understands their system that can maybe help Milroe and Simpson. So that's one thing to think about as well. Like he was around uh Penix, which I mean, I don't think, you know, I don't think like Jalen Milroe's Michael Penix at all, but can help understand the system maybe a little bit quicker. Uh, since he's kind of been in it for a year and was be able to be a student. So just a different dynamic to think about. But I know we got their center, which is like exactly what we needed. So I know he's a little bit undersized, but he can snap a football. And I've seen some highlights of him putting some people on their back and whatnot, and getting out in space and getting some pancakes and stuff. So I don't know. I think that's a fresh change that I'm definitely not upset about.
That was one of the there's been several moments like since Saban left where I've noticed like, okay, maybe the Empire is done. And one of those was, I mean, I felt like there was nearly a parade thrown for y'all getting a center from Washington.
It's just been a rough, however many. Well, this year because McLaughlin got benched as center and had to move to guard last year with Bryce Young's last year. And then this year, McLaughlin moves back to center because Chris Owens leaves, who had to come in and he like couldn't even snap. Like he was like a converted guard or tackle or something. And he went to Miami, I think. And then and then McLaughlin comes back and like has trouble snapping all year. He's a good offensive lineman, but snapping is just not his thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think maybe there's probably some yips in there. I'm a victim of the yips. Like I totally get it. Like, whatever. But at the same time, like, you know, we're
You
in
got
the
to figure
net,
it out.
we're in the Rose Bowl or we're in the SEC championship. Like we need clean snaps to run an offense against a good defense. Like we can't make these mistakes. You can make those mistakes against Arkansas and then we throw a bomb on them, but like you're not going to get away with that in a big game, on the biggest stage of them all. Like it's just not, we can't have that happen. So, I made a tweet made a tweet of the, whatever that dude's name, I can't even remember, with the Timberwolves where he's like celebrating like they just won the championship and it was like a playoff game or something. And
Pat Bev.
yeah, Pat Bev, that's
It
right.
was the
And
play-in game. He
it was
jumped
the
up on the score table
yes, and
and they
that's
got
how I
freaking
felt. That's how I felt. It's like
boat race in the first round.
3 years of not having an actual center, and now we have whatever that award is where they, the offensive line gets their award for best offensive line. We get that center. I mean, I'll carry him in on my shoulders.
Yeah.
So
It's been a wild ride. Wild couple weeks.
it's been crazy. It's been crazy. The T Rob stuff was like its own thing. Uh, we thought he would be the D coordinator. Like we thought he would just step up as the D coordinator. He goes to Georgia as the co-coordinator, then interviews for the DC job, and then as he's interviewing, Caleb Downs goes into the portal, and we're like, holy smokes, that's tampering. And then he doesn't even go to Georgia, and so it ended up kind of all right in my eyes, like whatever, um, clean wash, I guess. But like that was crazy. I'm trying to think what else has happened. Um, I mean, Ryan Williams decommitted immediately, would understandable. Uh,
Nick's body was still warm when he decommitted.
yeah, the
Like it
news
was
came out.
30 minutes after Saban said he's out. Ryan Williams said, "Thank God I'm out of here."
And then he added A&M to the list, and I'm like, don't add A&M. Like, don't go on a visit there, dude. They'll like promise you president of Texas or something. Like
He
they
might
got
get
so
it.
much money,
Promise him an oil rig.
dude. Like, yeah, you can have all the money from this oil rig. Sick.
That
Sorry.
you can You can have your own oil rig, or you can come to Alabama and we'll get you a video with Roll Tide Willie,
Yeah, I'm
and he'll
taking
have
roll.
shoes on.
I'm taking Roll Tide Willie. I mean, that's big, huge.
I did see that in the comments. They're like, Willie must really respect this guy. Even wore shoes for this.
He's never got shoes on.
Never.
I
His
respect it.
feet are tough as nails.
Oh
Look
yeah.
like he's got eight layers of skin on the bottom of his feet.
Why do you need shoes? So I don't know, man. I think overall though, like with the whole situation, um I think it's gone fairly well. I mean, there was like a mass exodus, but I think a lot of those guys are probably going to leave no matter who we brought in. Unless we brought in like Sarkeesian or something like that. I think even if Lane came in, those guys are probably bouncing. So, or, observe or checking out their options or whatever. So I think it's a tough job for anybody to come in and do that and try to keep the roster intact. But, keeping core guys, I think is at least a good start.
It's it really is a shame that what you see on Twitter though is like the minority of fans that are the loudest and that get the most attention to
Yeah.
where like I've seen so many people celebrating when Georgia didn't get Caleb Downs and
Yeah.
they're like trying to dunk on Georgia for that. It's like, well, dude, you didn't get him either.
Yeah.
Like you
Sorry.
don't have him either. That was
I,
like your girlfriend breaks up with you and she doesn't go and date the guy you hate, but she goes and dates somebody else. It's like, but what do you don't have anything to say in this.
yo, no, you kind of go like me personally. I sent it to y'all. I was like, you know, he didn't go to Georgia. We don't have to
Right.
play him.
And that's the same thing I said.
That I
Like,
mean, that
thank
was
God.
and that's where it ended. It was like, whatever. I'm not going to try to poke the sleeping giant essentially of Georgia, uh, and get them all riled up for no reason when they're our first SEC game next year. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
think I remember you said it's kind of like my Nostradamus moment where you had said Caleb Williams gonna win the Heisman, and I was like, hey, after Saban retires, he's gonna win it for Ohio State.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why people like Josh Pate and that Jake guy that's super annoying on there, why they were like so shocked he went to Ohio State.
I don't know. I've heard like you said it, and then I saw it on Twitter that he likes Ohio State, and then I guess people from Georgia were telling like the sources in the program were probably telling people like, yeah, he's coming, he's here now, whatever. So I guess that's why they're so surprised because Ohio State made a late push, but I think I've heard about Ohio State being his top, 3 or 2 the whole time.
Yeah,
Because I know they recruited him pretty hard out of high school too. So I don't know. But
yeah,
he's
that's
from like almost Athens. So like if he really wanted to go to Georgia, I think he would have gone out of high school. Uh I don't think he would have came to Alabama in the first place. Just personally. I don't know. I don't have like any information behind that, but it just seems weird to not go there originally. So I don't know.
another thing is the I don't know why teams feel like they have to lie when they hire coaches to where it's like y'all hired the guy from like you very obviously went after T Rob and Georgia's defense coordinator,
Yeah.
right? And then you randomly hire this guy that nobody's even really talking about from South Alabama who gave up like 52 points to TJ Finley in Texas State like
Okay. All
two
right.
months ago. And then
Okay.
everyone's like, this was our number one choice. He was the best defensive coach available. It's like, no, he like just be honest about this stuff.
Yeah, I don't get that either. And like even with the coaching stuff, like it's hard to tell. Like that's like going back to Twitter, like it's like all about who's the loudest, even though they're probably the minority.
Yeah.
Like, did we offer Dan Lanning? Probably. Like he made the most sense to me as the next guy, but like I don't know if we did or not because the AD never said like, "Hey, we're offering." It was just like
It's all
opinion.
rumors.
It was all opinion based, and like people are like, "Well, he came out and said he's not," and then Dan Lanning the next day is like, "Yeah, my son was asking me questions on why they think we're in Tuscaloosa, so I had to tell him." Like, and then so obviously if the son's seeing it, the team's seeing it, so he went and made a video or whatever. So like that doesn't mean we necessarily offered him, but
Right.
the defensive coordinator stuff, like we definitely offered, we definitely interviewed T Rob. I don't know if we ever offered him. I'm assuming we did. So like I didn't understand that either. Like where we were like, this was our first guy, which I know they've coached together before. Kane something, but Kane Womack, but because they were at Indiana together.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know why we have to say like this was our first option.
Yeah,
So
like you don't have to say any of that. You can just say, "Hey, we're hiring this guy."
there's no reason.
You
Now,
don't have to say he was our first option. He's the
do I
first
think
guy we went
DeBoer
after.
do you think DeBoer was actually the guy, the first option?
See, that's
Because
why I didn't say anything about that because I would believe that if that's how it was.
I think so too. Because Greg Byrne is a Pac-12 guy, like he's from the West Coast or had history back there, so like he has ties in there. They're probably like, hey, this guy's like a true executive, like he's the next big guy. You need, maybe he always had him in mind. So like I always kind of believe that, but I just hate the rumor wheel with or rumor mill with coaching hires. I mean, it was the
Right.
same with y'all's. Like, Lane's on campus, we're offering Lane, and then Lane's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
It's like,
Because I,
so it's just that's the stuff that I hate, and that's why I wouldn't. I wish during those times, like, I wouldn't get on Twitter so much. I'm like getting my hopes up and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, because I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Because like I feel like, and I jumped in on the lane. I bought into the Twitter everything, and I was like, yeah, we're getting Lane. And then looking afterwards, I'm like, maybe Freeze was the guy.
yeah,
Because like I'd said about DeBoer, I think I even tweeted it like before Dan Lanning even posted his video. I was like, DeBoer scares me the most. Like I think he was the best hire. I think the hire that made the most sense was Lanning and Kiffin. I think Kirby and Sark were never options,
no,
or D'Amico. I know some people would even thrown him in
no,
there, but those guys were never even options. But to me, I thought DeBoer has the most upside. We've seen the least amount from DeBoer, and DeBoer is also a guy that has just won everywhere, and that's like something that could translate to like if you win everywhere. I know I make the joke he's NAIA high school great NAIA coach, which I'm gonna keep going if he struggles.
that's fine.
But uh, like there's something to be said when you just win, you know, 9 out of every 10 games that you play at each level.
Yeah,
So I think he has the most upside. He's the one that scared me the most. I think he was the best hire available. I still think there's going to be so much regression, and it didn't matter who you hired. There's nothing you can do about it. Because
yeah,
like you said, you've had stability for the last 17 years. You've known you've had a top, what, three recruiting class the last 15 years. Like, that's not going to happen anymore. You're gonna go back to being like normal because it's the coaches.
yeah,
Like the coaches, Nick Saban is why Alabama was who they were. It's not because of Alabama. Like Alabama is a mansion in college football, but there are other mansions on that street who like Michigan or Wisconsin or Miami or USC. And when those teams don't have the perfect coach, they don't win.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, Saban was he was the driver of the vehicle. You know what I mean? Like the vehicle being Alabama, and he was the driver. But I definitely think we had like the perfect resources. Like it was a perfect storm, I think, for him. Like we were in the position to go all in and let him just take the wheel. And like we're like, hey, he's like, hey, we need a new locker room. We need a new weight, like to be competitive. And it's like, boom, there you go. We'll build it. All that stuff. So like I definitely agree with you there. But that being said, I do like what you said, like with DeBoer, like winning everywhere. Like there's something to be said for that. And I also like that we didn't go a Saban guy second because like DeBoer can come in and be himself because he's never like been with Saban or anything. So like he can come in and be himself, and then Saban be in like in the background or whatever. he is doing, if that's, if he truly is like an advisor. Like he doesn't feel the pressure of like his old boss looking over his shoulder. It's just like an all-time great, like giving him tips. You know what I mean? So it's not like there's no like weird dynamic there of like a previous boss and like he's gonna let Saban come in and like run a meeting or anything. Like DeBoer is still, he's gonna come in and be himself and do it the only way he knows how, as like an executive of the program, and then have a good staff with him. So that's why I like the hire a lot. That he just seems like that kind of guy. Like he's just gonna come in and be himself and be authentic. And I think that's probably the key. But I know it is unfortunate having to go. It's not. I mean, I don't know if unfortunate is the right word, but it's different. We'll say going from the stability of knowing we're always going to be top in recruiting, we're always going to have decent coordinators, and Nick is a great football mind. To like now we're going to be, you know, more of a, I hate to say normal, but like a normal college football team where you're going to have ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're going to get a good recruiting class and they're going to bust, and we're not going to be able to develop them into superstars or, at least average football players. And it's just how it's going to be. And like we're going to lack in positions. Our depth's probably not going to be as great, but I still think that our facilities are good enough, and I think NIL will take some time to catch up, but because I think we're behind there a little bit, I'm just off of a gut feeling. I just don't think we have we don't have a Yellowwood in our back pocket essentially, or oil money in our back pocket. We just have I would say like a big fan base. I don't know who all runs in the back rooms in Tuscaloosa, but um, I mean, it's just going to take some time to kind of figure all that out. It's all new to Tuscaloosa, so I guess we'll see. But I mean, I don't like DeBoer said Friday on Feinbaum, like he is used to the change, I guess, of empty roster and having to rebuild it. So I think from that perspective, we also kind of got a good guy there because like Dan Lanning's never had to deal with that.
Yeah. I do think DeBoer was the best hire. Um, and a lot of that's probably just smoke and mirrors trying to, you know, get everybody looking over here while you're actually working on this side and
Oh
kind of
yeah,
keep everybody out of your business because, who knows if one of those other jobs might have went after DeBoer if they'd have known Alabama was after him.
yeah. And Jimmy Sexton knows what he's doing too. Let's not.
Oh, Jimmy Sexton went and got everybody paid. He got in there and he said, Dan Lanning is the next coach at Alabama unless Oregon doubles the salary.
Yeah,
Do you know what they're going to do? I mean, he got everybody. There's like four coaches that got raises this week.
it's
Norvell
ridiculous.
got a raise. The last game Norvell coached, he lost by 60 points and he got a raise. Doubled his salary.
It's ridiculous,
Like,
man.
Jimmy Sexton is the best in the game.
It's crazy. He probably told, he was out there because like Lane, Sarkeesian, Norvell, Kirby. I don't think he got a raise, but still, like none of those people have any reason to leave. Like Lane, to me, I like before we got DeBoer, I really wanted Lane because I think that would make us like Darth Vader of football. Like
Yeah.
we would beat you by 60 and then laugh about it, and like not, it would just be, I thought it was like a good fit after Saban to kind of have like it wasn't just Saban kind of years, I guess. I don't really know, but that's just how it felt in my head. I don't know how to explain it. But he has no reason to leave Ole Miss. Like he's absolutely rolling right now with transfer and good recruiting, and he's got a decent staff. Like with Pete Golding, like Pete Golding's a great recruiter. I question his defensive coordinator abilities, but he's a great recruiter nonetheless. So um, like he has no reason to leave. Sark, no reason to leave. Dan Lanning really has no reason to leave Oregon. I mean, that's just a place that recruits itself. Kirby, no reason to leave, obviously. So I'm sure Jimmy Sexton's in there, like calling the AD at Oregon, like, "Hey, man, uh, I just got a call from Greg Byrne. What do you think? What do you think keeps Dan here, huh?" Like, boom. All right, cool. Let's sign it. Let's get it done. Like I guarantee you he did that and like never got a call from Greg Byrne.
Yeah. He probably walked, or he had those pictures taken of him outside of the Tuscaloosa facilities, and he probably walked into an empty conference room by himself, propped his feet up, and made $150 million for the
Abs-
next. Like he
Absolutely.
just printed money. He was just like, look, I'm in Tuscaloosa, and you won't believe what they just said they're gonna offer Dan Lanning. Like you got to go $500 over this, and then me and Dan will sign.
Oh my gosh. That's good stuff.
What a good spot to be in though if you're those guys. Also,
Oh
I
yeah.
think like there is no doubt in my mind. I'm gonna look into my crystal ball over the next 3 years. Lane Kiffin continues to stay at the top of the transfer portal recruiting class, top 10 in both for the next 3 years, and they continue to be like 10 wins. And he proves he can handle the new age of football with the
Mhm.
transfer portal and keeping key guys staying like Jackson Dart and still recruiting high school guys too to fill in the gaps. But he finds out you can't win a title at Ole Miss. And at Bama, DeBoer doesn't work out. You know, he might go the Gus route or he might go the
Like Les
Harson
Miles,
route.
like make it 5 years. I don't think he's as
Yeah.
quick as Harson.
Like Harson, oh, the reason I said the Harson route is Harson just gave up. Like eventually the pressure got to Harson. He was like, you know what? Well, I'm not going to do anything. Like
Yeah,
you've got to pay me to fire me. Go ahead and do it. And I think that could happen. I don't see that happening, but in 3 to 4 years, I see Lane being the next guy at Alabama.
I can see that.
And I think that's the best scenario is that you struggle for 3 years and then you hire Lane and then you're in the conversation again.
Yeah. I just hope we give DeBoer like I hope the casuals of our fan base give DeBoer a fair chance because that's the noise that will get to a coach like that. Say we go, I think this year, say we go 9 wins or something. Like we've got a pretty tough schedule. Um, then maybe the next year we go nine again, miss the playoff, and say we lose to Auburn next year. Like the fans are gonna start getting a little restless, like the casuals, and it's like you win 10 games in this new SEC, like you're really doing something. Like it's not like the old SEC where there's going to be 3 teams win 10 games or more and like a team goes perfect. Like that's done. If you go perfect, like you're probably going to win a national championship. Like
Yeah.
just plain and simple. Unless you just somehow have a schedule where you avoid going like to Alabama, to Georgia, to Auburn, to Texas. Like if you have a schedule that like has none of that and like you play all those big games at home and you get lucky or something, like then maybe like you could slip in, but I don't think that's happening. I think the playing field in the SEC is wide open now, and now that there's no divisions that like Georgia can hide in, like you're gonna have to play perfect to be a 10-win team essentially. And the out of conference too is ramped up. Like we're going to Wisconsin this year, like which you think like, oh, Wisconsin's not that great. Like they have a great coach now. Like this isn't old Wisconsin. Like that's going to be a terrible place to go week 3 with a new coach. So I don't know. I just think that I hope we give DeBoer like a fair shot at it. At least like 5 years or whatever his contract is. I don't know what he exactly signed for. I don't know if numbers have been released, but just give him a fair shot. Like, there's no reason to overreact to a bad year. Like, it's just like the SEC is the toughest it's ever been at this very moment.
Yeah. Like Eli Drinkowitz has Missouri like as somebody that'll punch you in the mouth. But like
Absolutely.
a couple years ago, all you had to worry about, SEC was top heavy, and now those middle of the road guys are starting to bring it too.
Yeah. Like, LSU is kind of taking a step down, but they'll beat you. Tennessee will beat you. South Carolina on any given Saturday will beat you. Florida is,
Come on,
you know,
come on.
the swamp's a tough place to play. That's how we'll put that.
There we go. Tom Petty's cool when they sing it.
Yeah. Arkansas, tough place to play at night. I don't think they're very good, but still a tough place to play. I mean, Texas lost there a couple years ago, and I didn't think they were very good. Mississippi State could be tough. Yeah, I know they're getting a new guy. Have they hired a new guy?
I think they promoted somebody, didn't they?
I can't remember.
Me either. I
Who
can
do you
look it
think
up.
gets the Michigan job? Let me ask you that before we move on.
The defense
You,
coordinator that cried.
you think they up that guy?
Yeah,
I think so
because
too.
really, there's not going to be anybody else. Like all the top guys, like we just talked about, all the top guys just got raises and extensions. It's like they're
Yeah.
not going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know who they would go get unless they just threw a bag at like Cliff Kingsbury or something like that. Like I'm trying to think of people who have been out of the game that are just chilling. But I think he wants to go back to the NFL. Like they're talking about him for the Bears job. So
I
it's
think
really
he's
tough.
uh, I think he's supposed to get like the offensive coordinator position or something, maybe
Yeah, I saw something like that.
quarterbacks coach, something like that.
Because he's like an analyst at USC right now. So he's
Yeah.
just kind of waiting. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I wonder if that
So
guy
we'll
just gets
see.
promoted, if they'll lose a bunch. Because if that's true, it's like I don't know.
I don't think so, to be honest with you.
I
Just
don't.
because he seems like he's so loved.
Yeah, I mean they really like playing for him. He cried on national television.
Yeah. Like
So
he acted like Harbaugh had a terminal illness, and that's why he wasn't able to coach.
yeah,
They hired Jeff Lebby.
the bear. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mississippi State.
Yeah, he's uh the one everybody was raising Cain about because he's Art Brow's son-in-law.
Yeah. Um.
Whatever.
So pretty big game Wednesday.
Yep.
What do you think?
Dude, I love this team. I seriously, I since like the first game, even against Baylor when we lost, I've been like, this team is special,
Yeah, I
and
mean
we just keep getting better too.
it's like your usual deep run team. It's a bunch of dudes who have played together for a long time, and in college basketball, that's pretty rare, especially in SEC college basketball. So, I mean, I think y'all definitely have a good mix. And then Jalen Williams is just like, I think he's just bored, honestly. Like, he's played so many games. He hasn't started a ton. I think he's only started 2 years, maybe, but I mean, he's played behind some of the Auburn greats. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? But like, I think he's just kind of bored. Like, he probably doesn't even get nervous. Um, he'll probably be at like Rammer Jammers before the game eating a bacon sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, uh in Tuscaloosa. I think that's just what it seems like. He just has no emotion on his face and he just goes out there and shoots perfect. But yeah, I mean, I think y'all have a pretty good team. I don't know why Auburn fans on Twitter are like trying to talk themselves out of it. I guess it's been a while since they've been in that position, but like I personally, y'all have one guy to stop um Wednesday, and it's Sears, and he's banged up. So I think it's a good test of, if you can't stop him or stop the rest of the offense, you have to do one or the other. And if you can't do that, you probably got some growing to do between now and the postseason. But if you do that, like you better remain hot and just keep rolling, because I think y'all won like 11 in a row. But this is it to me. It's a good matchup because we match up with y'all depth wise, and there's not many teams that do that. So I, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're. I know before we started recording, you said that you think we're top three team in the SEC, and honestly, that felt kind of like disrespectful, even though you were
Do you,
100% right. Like Kentucky, Tennessee, Auburn are all up there, but I just think that speaks for like how well this team has played, to where it's like top three in the SEC. Like I was thinking we're like top five in the country,
yeah,
and both could be true.
yeah,
Because I mean, Tennessee looked great against y'all yesterday. They're, I feel like always, Tennessee's kind of like the most consistent basketball school in the SEC, to where they are always an elite scorer away from winning a title. Like
absolutely.
their defense is always going to be great. They're going to take your strengths away and make you try to play to your weaknesses, which is what we kind of talked about before, where they took the three ball away from y'all yesterday. You were every once in a while you were getting past them and getting an easy layup. And then at that point, they're just like, all right, we'll just take our chances on them beating us by twos, and really they just forced a lot of turnovers. Y'all played kind of sloppy, but still Tennessee, Kentucky, they're pretty good. We haven't really seen them, uh, tested a ton yet, but right now I would say Auburn is the best team in the SEC. I think it'll tell a lot about us Wednesday because if y'all are going to beat us, it's going to be at home. Like I don't think you beat us at Auburn.
No. I
Um,
I mean, I just don't think we're that good in general. Like I think we're solid. I think we're a solid squad. And but we don't have a true big man. Like we don't have a full team. Like it's just not our year. I mean, we're like an in-between year. Next year we have 2 5 stars and a 4 star coming in. Like all these guys are gonna come back and we're kind of have like our, like a Brandon Miller ass team next year. Like we're just an in between year. I mean, it just is what it is. But I mean, we still have like decent. We have a decent squad. Like Grant Nelson is not the guy that we thought he'd be, but he's still solid. Like he's a big body, and Pringle is all right. He's just not a true big man that you want to like live and die by. So I just don't know. Like I don't think we're in that. I think we're probably five, maybe. I think we were picked to finish fifth in the SEC. I think that's probably where we're at. I mean, I don't like a team like Ole Miss could probably beat us, and I don't think they're good at all, but they could probably beat us because they have two big men. Like, what are we gonna, you know what I mean? Like, if they play good defense on the perimeter, what are we gonna do? Go and get our shot block down low? Like, that we just there's no way. If you can take the three away and you have a big man, like we just don't have an answer for it right now, which is just unfortunate. But um, Bediako is playing in the G League, and I hope he's happy.
yeah, what the crap is that? That's that still doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, I didn't even know he left. I had to ask you. I'm like, where is the guy that you had last year, the
That
big
was
man? And you're like, oh, he
animal.
went to the draft. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Who? I honestly, I thought you were talking about the military for a minute. I was like, wait,
I just don't get it. I don't get those
shout out to
moves. Like
him.
with maybe he wasn't making as much with NIL. I don't know. Like I don't know. I mean, we're literally a big man away from being, probably pretty close to you guys, honestly. Or like I don't know. Like Kentucky looks pretty good at home, and Tennessee looks pretty good at home. So I gotta take that out. Like they aren't as good on the road. Um, I don't know. I haven't watched y'all a ton. Like I don't know if y'all have played that. I know y'all beat Indiana at a neutral site, which you know, essentially a road game. But I mean, obviously you guys are pretty good at home, so it's like it's a good test to kind of just see where if you are the best team or not. I guess. I just hope Sears is ready to go, because if not, we're in trouble.
Yeah, I think we've got a 6'7" guard that's ready to guard Sears.
Well, I don't know, man. That's what everybody says.
Oh, but Jalen Williams has become my favorite player. I'm beating the drum. Jalen Williams is the best player in the SEC, and like I pulled it up because I remembered he had started. He started in 2020 and 2021, all 27 games, and then in 21 is when Jabari came in, and he went to the bench.
Yep.
Jabari graduates, then he started every game since then. So for a guy that started all 20 games, he averaged 10 points a game, 10 and 5, and then you bring in a freshman and he just he's like, all right, y'all come off the bench, no problem. Yeah, guy
Yeah.
leaves, then he just steps right back in, like, yeah, all right.
I mean, and it's honestly frustrating that like ESPN or whoever like does their notes is like focused on Janai Broom. And I'm like, dude, no, he's not Auburn. Like Jalen Williams is Auburn. Like y'all
Yes,
need to focus on Jalen Williams. Janai Broom is, he transferred in, yeah, like he is Auburn. I mean, not taking that away from him, but like Jalen Williams deserves the love. Even though he might not be NBA prospect or whatever, but like I think he could be. I don't see why
I do too.
not. Like he just doesn't turn the ball over and shoot, like make shots. Makes open shots too. Plays good defense. He'll clamp your, small forward up. So I don't know, man. I don't think he'll have anything to worry about. Uh I just hope that, we keep it close. We can't get blown out. just as a culture thing.
We kind of joked about Aiden Holloway before we started recording, like that he shoots like 29% from the floor, but those 29% are from the logo and beyond.
Oh yeah,
Take a guess at what his field goal percentage is. Legit.
I mean he's got to make some layups.
Nope.
Probably, probably like
Don't
30,
have to.
37 maybe.
34.3.
Yeesh.
What do you think his 3-point percentage is?
Probably 33.3.
34.8. His 3-point percentage is higher than his field goal percentage.
His 2 pointers are bringing him down.
Correct. He needs to fog up more threes. Get that shooting percentage up.
Jeez, man. So what do you think's going on? Because Donaldson or whatever his name is, a lot better. I think. I guess he just works better with that second group, or do you think they just he wants to get Donaldson on the other teams too, like second point guard, or what do you think's going on there? Why do you think Donaldson doesn't start, or does it matter? I mean, they all probably played the same minutes, I guess.
Yeah, it's all about the same. Like really, uh, like John I's out there a good bit and Jalen's out there a good bit. Everybody else is pretty close to the same. Like I mean, we run 10 deep and
Yeah,
like everybody's getting 15 minutes or better.
that's pretty much like
Like,
us too. Like Sears plays most of the game, uh, but everybody else rotates in, and Pringle just because it's him and another guy, but Pringle's a little bit better. But yeah, it's just watching the few games that I've watched. Trey Donaldson is very crafty, and I hate that he's gonna be another 5 year guy.
oh,
Uh,
100%.
because he's nasty, and he could probably go start safety for y'all too if he needed to. You know,
We might need him.
if y'all just get injured or something. I think he came in as like a dual guy or something like that. But I just can't believe Bruce is so good at conning these guys because Aiden's gonna have to stay.
Conan.
Dude, yeah, man. He tried to hold back Jabari. Jabari could have been a 30-point guy. He could have
That's
been
not
number one overall.
that's not our way.
Held him back. Y'all got Wendell Green and Katie Johnson taking all the shots, and Jabari's just standing there wide open, like, dude, I'm automatic. I'm automatic.
That was frustrating.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just the system. And I mean, I think Katie Johnson's a little selfish. Yeah. But I mean, he also is a really good player.
No, because
So
KD's taking a step back this year. Another guy, KD starts every game. We bring in Aiden and he just steps back. He's like, I'll come off the bench.
I mean,
He's
there's two guys in front of that play point guard that are better than him on his team. Trey
he
Donaldson's
has
that
the
guy.
fifth most minutes of our guards. KD does.
Yeah, he's a turnover machine because he just
Stop
throws
it.
up shots. He's a
Stop
great
it.
defender though. He is a great defender. I'll give it to him.
Let's see. He averages 0.7 turnovers a game. That's blasphemy.
His bricks are turnovers. Every time
Hey,
he gets the ball, he throws it up, and he'll make every once in a while get the crowd going. Like that's fine. You know, it's just you got to balance it. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like those shots when you have Trey Donaldson standing to your left wide open, or whoever, Jalen Williams wide open. He hasn't missed a shot in 8 weeks. Like, and you shoot it in this dude's face and you miss it. Like that's a turnover. I know it didn't
yeah.
go in there as a turnover, but it's a turnover.
He's shooting 28% from 3 point. But he's a spark, man.
He is a
He dribbles
spark.
down, he hits
That's what
that
I'm,
three. The next two
yeah.
are going up.
Yeah.
And if he
Absolutely.
hits them, we win the game. If he loses them, we reset.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah. I'm with you. Like, and but he's gonna get the steals. Like, like it is what it is. It's just like make that extra pass, and you probably play more. But
Our 10th guy is averaging 15.3 minutes a game. Like the highest is John at 23.3. The lowest is Chris Moore at 15.3. There's 10 guys in between there. I love this team, man.
where are you looking at ESPN?
ESPN, yeah.
About to pull up Alabama, see how we match up.
They
I know
are deep.
everybody was talking about Auburn playing 11 the other night, and Alabama also played 11, but we lost, so it didn't matter. Let's see, one, two. Marcus Sears averages 30. Estrada, who's the other guard, does 28, and then let's see, one, two. Our ninth guy is 11.8. He's a forward, and then Crosby, who was hurt, so he started off like low minutes and now is getting more and more minutes. He's at 8. Um, and then our backup, he's kind of our second 5, kind of our third. 6.5 minutes. That's the 11th guy. So I don't know. We just don't have the we have a lot of depth, but they're all kind of the same. And they're, you know what I mean? Like it's just not we just don't have that guy to take us over. The big guy at least.
Yeah.
Take us over the cliff or
Just
over the hump.
just like I said, Tennessee's an elite scorer away from winning a title. I think Bama is always a big man away from being in that combo,
Well, it's
especially
like,
with Oates' system.
yeah, last year we had two of them. We had Gurley and Bediako, and they both leave, and we don't have an answer. I mean, Pringle was supposed to be the guy, but he's just not yet. But we got guys coming in. Don't worry. We'll uphold the agreement. It's y'all's year this year. It was
Correct.
our year the year before. It was y'all's year the year before that.
Yep.
And it was our year before that. So we'll uphold the agreement.
Y'all got odds, we got evens.
Yeah, for people who don't know, me and Braylon have made an agreement for both programs. We've shaken on it. We broke bread over it, and it's every other year, odds and evens. And I mean, I'm still cool with it. Are you still cool with it? Like,
100%.
all right, yeah. I mean, I
If I can
think if
go,
you win the SEC every other year,
sign me up.
yeah, absolutely,
Still trying to
absolutely.
get something in paper for football, but I can't really
And
budge.
I just can't. I can't give up anything to Hugh Freeze. I just think he's a dirtbag.
Well, he's fixing to take it, buddy, because the freeze five, we're one away.
That's fine. You only play 3 receivers at a time, anyways. So
Not true. That's
you're just
not
not
true.
you're just not gonna have a tight end. You're just gonna be clamped out across.
Correct.
Okay.
Five wide, baby.
All right.
All right. Good episode. Let's get
That
out
was
of here.
great.
Love you guys.